This is not marginal stuff. This is huge stuff. So, I'm talking about retention. Which one of the 7 categories is retention? Sales and marketing. Sales and marketing is what gets people to stay. What is the first thing you need to know about retention? Well, you as a consumer, what do you not want to do? Come back. Come back. That's the very first thing you need to know. When your consumers come to you, what they don't want to do is keep coming back in regards to retention. So what makes somebody change their value system? By the way, you have to change somebody's value system to get them to stay. Here, listen to this. We purchase emotionally, we justify cognitively. When people make a purchase, 85% of the time it's an emotional thing. What makes them want to stay is cognitive. It's 2 different systems. It's not one and the same. I just finished with you on the emotional sales, purchase, and marketing. Now I'm talking about cognitive to get them to stay. It's a different formula. Cognitive is what gets people to stay. So, what is going to make somebody stay? First thing you need to know is they don't naturally want to stay. How do we know that? You don't want to stay when you go somewhere. That's what you're going to get. So you have to change their value system. How do you change their value system? Impose foreign beliefs and ideas and concepts on them. That'll change their value system. Yeah, it's working real well. No, there is a way to do it. I'm going to show it to you right now. Okay. Here's what happens. People purchase in a 4-step process. It's called needs analysis, presentations, obstacles, and consummation. It's called a 4-step process. And actually, one of the chiropractors in the profession took this model and brought it to the profession, but unfortunately, he didn't explain why it works. And it's called a 4-day report. And here's what happens. The patients come in, and they go through 4 days of educational material, because there's a little byproduct that happens. Each time, when a patient comes in here, it's the first time they meet you and experience you, what's happening to their trust and defenses? Okay, now what happens on the next contact? Let's say you don't do anything wacky. You're just normal. What naturally happens to trust the next time around? Defenses. Now, the 3rd visit, what happens? What happens to trust? Goes up, defenses? Down. 4th visit. Okay. The natural byproduct of multiple contacts is trust goes up, defenses going down. Is that a good thing or bad thing when you're trying to communicate with somebody? Okay, now, it's a 4-step process in how they do it. So in the first visit, we establish their needs. We make sure that there's a need. The second visit is the presentation, which shows how we are the solution to their problem. The 3rd visit deals with any of their obstacles. And the 4th visit is when they say, you know what? I will agree to long-term care. Now, what are the 4 components that the patients want to know and the order they want to know them? What is my problem? Can you help? How long will it take and how much will it cost? This is the order that they do it. Okay? Now, so it's a 4-day report. Does that mean we don't adjust them or treat them at all in here? No. It means we'll at least work with them 3 or 4 days in a row, and we will slowly work with them educationally. And here's the second component. Here's the second component. Now this next one is huge. It's called third party objective short-term findings. You say, what? It's called third-party short-term objective findings. Let me dissect that for you now. This is what happens in the process. As I'm communicating with them each day, this is what happens. We don't want them to put it on them, because if we put it on them, what are they going to choose? What kind of care are they going to choose when we leave it up to them? Short term. Get pain-free and then they're what? Gone. Because their motive is gone. That's an emotional thing. So if we leave it up to them, we know they're going to do what? Leave. Now here's a rule. If you say it, they doubt it. If they say it, they believe it. Okay? Here's a rule. So you get them, in other words, you don't base their care on them, because if you allow it to be based on them, they're gone as soon as their perceived need is gone, which is symptom-based, because that's all they know. The other rule is don't base it on you, because they don't trust you as much. Base it on third-party objective findings, because how much trust is there in something third-party? Not you, not me, but third-party, and it's objective. How much trust is there? High or low? Yes, that's the key. Don't base it on you. Don't allow them to base it on themselves. It's called third-party objective findings. So what you do is you create a measuring device. What are some measuring devices? Ranges of motion, X-rays, thermometer, or neurokilometers. What else? Tests, orthopedic tests, goniometers. In other words, aren't those things pretty much objective? So it's also called your physical exam findings. So you base the care not on what they want, not on what you say. You base it on their findings, which are third-party objective. So you just educate them what the normal should be, what theirs are, the 3 phases of how they heal. Acute phase, that's in the first 72 hours. The repair phase happens in 6 to 9 weeks. That's usually when you need to be treated 3 times a week or twice a week. And then the regeneration reformation phase happens from 9 to 12 months. Those are the 3 phases of physiological healing. Have you guys learned those yet? Okay? So you marriage the two. You take their problem. There's going to be 3 phases. Guess which phase they want to quit after? Acute. Yeah. So we'll see them daily, 4 days in a row, in the acute phase to get them to feel better as quick as we can. In the same time, it's a 4-day report. We're dealing with their needs the first day, the presentation the second, obstacles and consummation of the treatment plan. It's third-party objective. In other words, I'm not allowing it to leave it on them, and I'm not putting it on me. I'm basing it on what? Their findings. I'm going to create a measuring device. I could create 1, I could create 2, I could create 3, whatever. And then we go, these are normal. This is what you should be able to do. X-ray, range of motion, whatever. This is where you're at compared to normal. These are the 3 phases of healing. Acute, repair, and the time frames, and regeneration. You with me? I do that a little at a time over these 4 days. A little at a time. What do I not want to create? A high paradigm shift. So now it goes from an emotional to a cognitive issue. And I don't try to sell them 3 months or 6 months of care on the first or second day. When the first come in, I just ask them to get to day 2. I establish the need on day 1. They come to day 2. I let them know that I can take care of their problems if I can. If I can't, I refer them out. If I can take care of them, I'll give them the report, which will show that. But in addition, I will now start teaching them third-party objective findings and the 3 phases of how they heal and marriage the 2. I'll do a little bit here. Then here I'll ask for 3 days of care. Is that a big paradigm shift here? No. I will marriage the 3 phases of care with the third-party objective findings right here, a little bit here, a little bit here, and by the time I get here, what do they now see? They now understand that there are 3 phases to care. The acute phase, which is usually daily. The repair phase, which is usually 6 to 9 weeks, takes at least 2 to 3 times a week. And then the regeneration reformation phase, which you know as the maintenance phase, which can take once every 2 weeks to once a week. I add those visits up. It all makes sense to them here. And it's not based on what they want. It's not based on what I want. And then every 30 days, it's remeasured. It has to be short term. Because if something is way out there, are you more likely to start or not start at all? Not start at all. That's one of the keys when you're doing goals. When you're doing goals, one of the keys are to make short-term goals because you're more likely to start and at least go to them. So, do we talk to them about maintenance care the rest of their life on day one? Heck no! That's crazy. So, it's third-party objective findings. Does this make sense? We marriage the phases of healing with normal versus what they can do, and it's measured every 30 days. So they stay on a treatment schedule here 3 times a week, and then we do the re-exam 4 weeks later. And if they're better, guess what we do with their treatment schedule? Reduce it. And then what do we do again? We measure it again 30 days later. We at least want to get them through the first 2 phases of care, the acute phase and the repair phase, and then get some periodic care in the regeneration reformation phase. That's what you know as maintenance. Are you with me? This is a hard concept to explain. I'm sure it's hard to understand, isn't it? It's not? Why are you laughing?
No, because a lot of stuff seems pretty simple, but just, I mean,
What hasn't made a lot of sense in anything I've said? You may not have liked me, but what have you not liked about the message? That's not true.
it's just never presented this way. That's all.
Well, that's why I do $30 million a year. Because I know how to do it. When you know how to do it, the market's huge and there's way opportunity. When you don't, you're stuck with market forces. Good luck. Can you see there's 2 ends to this spectrum in chiropractic? If you don't know what you're doing, it doesn't look real good. When you do know what you're doing, there's huge opportunity. But to find out how to do it is not easy. It's going to cost you. It never usually costs you in money you pay because you guys aren't willing to pay it. It costs you in skin off your back. It costs you in money you never make. That's the money you never understand. So back to this third-party concept. In each one of these days, it's incremental, incremental, incremental. And we marriage third-party objective findings, 3 phases of healing, short-term third-party objective. It's now, is that a totally trustworthy situation? How ethical is it? Thank you. But I'm a big ripoff. It's highly ethical. And then, the only thing that we do like is we do like them to pay in advance their copay or the fee. Because if somebody pays in advance, what's the likelihood of them following through with the care? In other words, have they bought into the message? In other words, did you change their value system now? Yes. And do they follow through with their treatment plan? And is it now based on their objective findings versus how they feel? Are you with me? Right. So it is important that people prepay for care. Here's the rule with us. We never make anybody pay more than $80 a month if they don't want to. I've never turned anybody away for chiropractic care that wanted to pay for it. Never. Does that sound like a ripoff? $80 a visit. So, we may put them on $80 a month for 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 months, something like that. Can you not afford $80 a month? Should anybody not be able to afford $80 a month for chiropractic care? Is $80 a month a lot of money for chiropractic care to somebody working? Because if they can't afford it, what's the issue? What's humanity spending their money on? Beer. You think they're probably spending more on beer? Cigarettes? What else? Coke. They're spending $80 a month on all kinds of other junk. If they can't afford $80 a month, is money the issue? No, money's not the issue. What's the issue? Priority, values, you got it. They have bad values. That's okay. You're not going to be able to talk them into it. It's like somebody trying to talk you into a different religion. It's very difficult. You don't even want to. Okay. How much sense does this make? So what are the key concepts? There's 4 phases on how people buy. Needs analysis, presentation, obstacles, consummation. It's called the 4-day report. It's married. You can't leave it on their symptoms. You can't leave it on their how they feel. You can't base it on you. You have to base it totally on their objective findings. It's called third-party objective because you will believe x-rays. You will believe tests. You will believe that. They will believe that. And is it totally ethical? Yes. We marriage that with the 3 phases of healing: the acute phase, the repair phase, the regeneration phase. We do want them to pay in advance, so it's a done deal. And then it's measured. We don't go over $80. We make it at $80 a month. Now, if they want to pay more than $80, will I accept it? Yes, I'll accept it. But we make it affordable to everybody, is my point. Hang with me, Scott. $80. And then we make it short term, every 30 days, they're checked. And as the improvement occurs, they're scheduled down. The improvement occurs, they're scheduled down. Does this make sense? Now, who's doing more for chiropractic now? Me, seeing 30, 40, 50 new patients a month with a 25 retention, or you seeing your 8 new patients a month with your 12 retention, 20 a week, and me seeing 200 a week? Who's doing more for chiropractic? Who's doing more ethically and morally for that patient? You seeing them your 8 to 12 visits in that acute repair, regeneration phase? Or me helping them go through that phase to prevent MMI, maximum medical improvement, and a permanent impairment rating, a permanent problem the rest of their life? Who's doing more for that patient? Ethically and morally now. You or me. But I'm the ripoff. You've got to learn how to communicate better. You've got to learn how this works. And you can't just do what the heck you want to do. You can, but you just get the results from it, that's all. So, how many new patients are needed now if my retention is 25? What just happened to the amount of new patients I need if my retention is 25 instead of 12? The number of new patients I need now is half. So here, if I see 30 new patients a month, because I know how to get them, Stephanie knows how to get them, I know how to keep them with 25 retention. How many patient visits is that? 25 retention times 30, that's a month. That's 750 patient visits a month. That's times a $40 per visit. That's $30,000 a month times 12 months. That's $360,000 a year. That times a 30% overhead. Take out $108,000 for overhead. 360 minus 108 is a profit of $252,000. And you're looking for a second job seeing 20 patient visits or 40 patient visits a week. And it's a bad location where you're at. The community's not health-minded. And the insurance isn't good in my area. But I want you to know every office that we've opened in 18 states, 85 offices, we got lucky and we picked the right areas where the people were chiropractic-minded. There was great insurance. More than 6% were looking for chiropractors. We got lucky as hell. And we'll do it again in the next 6 months, and we'll do it again after that. Because we're not here. We're not in unconscious incompetence. We know how to do it, and we know how to do it well. And we know how to train it and train it well. And that's what most of you don't understand. You're going to pay. You're going to pay. But it's money you will never see. It's a lifestyle you'll never see.